Wanjai Marumba, or G'day in the Jandai language of the people of Quandam Muka country. This week we continue with our RE Prosper pilgrimage, and we're asked to explore the concept of perspective, which is in the Wisdom family of character strengths and is found at number 18 for students and at number 4 for myself. Last year this character strength was number 18 for me, and I made a determined effort to work on this strength. We're filming here today next to one of the many thousands of trees here at the college, also inside Cluckingham Palace. And I hope that the time we finish these videos on perspective, you found a new appreciation of the great spiritual benefit of trees and of our environment. There are so many things that shape perspective: your knowledge, your experiences, your starting point to looking at a problem. As you gather more information, your perspective starts to build. You're seeing a picture, and I love this illustration of perspective. Both characters can be seen to be correct, and both characters can be seen to be wrong. It all does depend on your perspective. In one simple cartoon, you can see the power of looking at things from another angle. Within the VIA character strengths, perspective means the ability to see the bigger picture in life. While listening to others, perspective helps you simultaneously think about your life lessons, proper conduct, and what's best for the situation being discussed. This ability to look at systems as a whole, or to think in big terms, helps you to offer good advice to others. Perspective is distinct from intelligence, but represents a high level of knowledge, the capacity to give advice and to recognize and weigh multiple sides before making a decision. It allows the individual to address important questions about the conduct and meaning of life. And within our Catholic Christian community here at Iona, we believe that there is a faith perspective that can bring meaning for life and eternal life. This perspective starts from a belief in a God who loves us into existence, who loves us throughout our earthly lives and loves us into eternal life. This perspective of hope and a profound ethic of life come to us from the heart of Jesus. Jesus in his life challenged society to see the poor, the downtrodden, the abandoned as worthy and full of God-given dignity. And when the early oblates were being called to join St. Eugene de Mazenod, he implored them to see the world through the eyes of Christ. This is a profound call to consider perspective from the eyes of Jesus. He specifically expected this of the early oblates, and it's something which we also try to grow in you. So what might we see, hear and feel if we look at the world through the eyes of Christ? First and foremost, we will see, hear and feel people's God-given dignity, and that will compel us to stand with and for those who are left out. It will expect that we respect safety at all times and that also we respect the dignity and value of work. It will ask us to focus on community and that these days will be moved by compassion and empathy. When we lead, minister and care for you in an oblate spirit, there is a religious word for that, and it's called a charism. It's like the DNA gifted to St. Eugene to see the world from a unique perspective. In our AIC school competition, we have 7 schools belonging to 4 different charism traditions. Padua has a Franciscan tradition and charism from God to St. Francis of Assisi. Marist College Ashgrove has a Marist tradition gifted by God to St. Marcellin Champagne. St. Edmund's, St. Lawrence's and St. Patrick's all have an Edmund Rice charism, gifted by God to Blessed Edmund. Villanova College has an Augustinian charism, gifted by God to St. Augustine. St. Peter's Lutheran belongs to the Lutheran tradition within the Christian family of churches, and we here at Iona are guided, supported, influenced and challenged by the Oblate charism, given by God to St. Eugene de Mazenod in rural France approximately 200 years ago. While we live in very different circumstances, St. Eugene's perspective that we should form a passionate and daring community too is really important, and we included this charism in our college vision. Inspired by the gospel of Jesus Christ and the life of St. Eugene de Mazenod, the Iona community focuses on educating and empowering young men to dare to make a positive difference throughout their lives and the lives of others. This vision statement is not meant to be words in a frame or even in a video like this, but it is an attempt to help you look at the world through a faith religious perspective, and one that includes care for the most vulnerable in our community. Some of the most vulnerable here in Queensland are the unborn, the sick, the elderly, those who are homeless, those who are affected by addictions. Empathy is one of the key translations of the word perspective in our Catholic Christian tradition. And I'd like to share with you a perspective on empathy that I think can really help you understand the value and the great difference it has from sympathy. The author and narrator is Brené Brown, who I've been listening to a lot on my walks in podcasts. I've listened to her books on leadership and her many podcasts, and I find that she has a unique perspective to me, and one that I can definitely appreciate and resonate. I encourage you to look her up if you get the chance. And now we'll have a look at that small video.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, you climb down. I know what it's like down here. And you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no. You want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with "at least." And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So, John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
Essentially, perspective can be really a great tool if you're having a difficult time navigating what to do and what to weigh up as the best possible action or advice. In the second video on perspective, I'm going to try and make use of the analogy of a tree, perhaps to see if we can learn from its many lessons. Maybe it's because we have so many beautiful trees at the college, or maybe it's because my surname is Twig and I feel a connection. But I hope that you might think it might be helpful anyway. Take care. God bless. Kia kaha. Perspective is such a unique and beautiful gift that you bring to our community. I look forward to sharing more with you in the second video. Thank you.